Back to another episode of War in Cali. In this episode, I'm gonna talk about one of Sacramento's deadliest gangs, the Old Park Bloods, and their internal beef. Now, the Old Park Bloods is one of the biggest gangs in Sac by far. Being founded around the 1980s, Old Park over the years will become one of the main factors in the Sacramento gang scene. Old Park will take on a lot of other hoods throughout the city and still remain strong over numerous wars with Crips and other blood gangs. Going into the 2000s, younger members of Old Park will start making different cliques and crews or aligning themselves with other things that was going on at the moment in Sac. In that era, many gangs throughout the city of Sacramento had many young members creating cliques within their hood, and Old Park will have the same thing going on, with cliques like Fab and Zilla becoming a big thing claimed by the Old Park youth. Years later, Old Park will produce a crew called Mozzy, which Old Park was fully behind, from the OGs to the youth of Old Park, and the main face of that crew will be Little Tim, which later will become known as the rapper Mozzy. Mozzy would gain a huge following in Old Park, but also in the city of Sacramento off his rapping skill, but also the controversial diss records he was making against rival gangs that I covered in a previous episode. Even with all the controversy Mozzy would be involved in, he would make it far of rapping and try to put Old Park on, and that would lead to many rappers from Old Park trying to follow in his footsteps to make it off rap. Many other groups would arise from Old Park, some being crews like Shootergang, also known as SSG. Now, Shootergang was comprised of several young rappers like VJ, Fleecy, DeRay, the two most known being Coney and JoJo. Shootergang would build their own wave in music, coming up a few years after Mozzy. Mozzy would take them on his tours and even do a few songs with them, giving them a cosign. Mozzy would even make cameos in a few of their music videos. Along the years, both crews' relationship would start to crumble, and Old Park would start to see a little division within Old Park. Many problems would arise with Shootergang, having issues with Mozzy and his crew associating with snitches. Shootergang DeRay would accuse our Old Park OG, named Gangsta Jeff, for snitching in a video, and his paperwork will soon come out, but Mozzy will still associate with Jeff, and CML will later address this in a song called Where's Waldo 2. But the biggest thing that happened that led to Shootergang and Mozzy's crew epic fallout was rapper Shootergang Coney being with a bunch of fellow Old Park members when he got into an altercation with Mozzy family member and fellow rapper E. Mozzy, leading to Coney being jumped for his chain. At this point, you would see Shootergang stop associating with Mozzy and stop wearing their Mozzy chains. This would turn Old Park upside down. Some people would pick Mozzy's side, or some people would pick Shootergang's side, or a few would just stay out the mix and stay neutral and out the way of the new Old Park politics. Many people would have a lot to say about this, and Maserati Rick would be one of the biggest names speaking openly about the beef going on. With everyone mostly staying quiet, he would make subs at Mozzy and even talk about Uzi Marcus, saying he let Coney get jumped and he was finna kick him off Zilla. With Maserati Rick being close to Shootergang, he would take the Coney situation personal. Shootergang DeRay would later die, and Mozzy and his camp wouldn't even go to the funeral. When 50 Rich and Mozzy started beefing, 50 Rich would bring that up in a diss song to Mozzy. One of the most loved Old Park gang members, named K Squeeze, would die in June of 2020, which put many high-ranking popular gang members' deaths that month, like rapper Briss from Fruit Ridge and rapper Jody Woe from the Heights in North Sac. K Squeeze was well respected in the streets and was a big loss for Old Park. He separated himself from the Mozzy side and was associated more with the Shootergang side before his death. K Squeeze was the little brother of rapper Bust Down Bandy, who was affiliated with Mozzy and still does to this day. Many people will call K Squeeze's death a backdoor situation, with K Squeeze being in the car with his brother Bandy, who wasn't shot. At K Squeeze's funeral, it was said that Bandy would be jumped by other Old Park members. Coney would do interviews on No Jumper and downplay the situation and the beef with Mozzy.
When did you actually start working with Mozzy or start wearing the Mozzy chain? When did that conversation happen?
Probably like 18. Yeah, I think gave me the chain for sure, and but other than that, like we ain't worked hella. You feel me? I think we got like two, 3 songs or something, 2 songs. But yeah, I just got the chain and signed you to some albums type shit. Like it ain't never been like that. Okay. It was just like I had that and I was just doing what I was doing.
But you guys didn't really like move around that much. You just did a couple songs and it didn't really...
Yeah, I had one on tour with Dog, like, you feel me, like 2 times. But that was like the first time I went on tour, then I wasn't even like really a rapper yet. Okay. Like, you feel me, like that, you feel me?
Okay. Did you guys sort of fall out at a certain point, or did you stop getting at a certain point, or?
I ain't really know like Fallout Blood, you know, me for doing their own thing.
I feel it. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like having a hard time. Like I'm looking through YouTube titles and I can't really tell like what is actually real stuff and which ones are just trying to clickbait me into believing that everybody has problems with each other.
Hell yeah, they be trying to do that, you know. They be trying to play with every gangster.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot will go on behind the scenes, like several fights and a lot of back and forth between the two sides over the internet. But the Shootergang side will get even with taking Mozzy affiliates' chain and posting them on Instagram. This will lead back to Mozzy's side posting Coney's chain.
So I don't know the price tag on that. This one right here, I don't know, it fell off the neck. I put it on.
Red Paint Mava, a known member of the Oak Park Bloods and affiliated with several crews in Oak Park, including Shootergang, will be killed on September 2021 at a party.
Photographer Dave Grassoff is joining us from Fruit Ridge Road with the latest details. Dave, what's happening?
Yeah, it took place about 11:20 last night is what we're hearing. And I have to tell you, there's quite a bit of crime scene tape up. I'm just going to pan here. It came down as a call on the 2700 block, but kind of this whole little stretch right here, that little mini shopping area right there, and then right down 28th Street. Officers responded to reports of a shooting just after 11:20 last night. Officers located 2 adult males who had been shot. Both were transported to area hospitals where one, unfortunately, later died, and that's all the information they're telling us at this point. But I can tell you that awful lot of police, Sacramento police presence down 28th Street, just off of Fruit Ridge, to the south of Fruit Ridge just a little bit.
Since Mava died in Fruit Ridge, which is a rival gang to Oak Park, many people thought rivals killed Mava, especially with many enemy gang members mocking Mava's death. But it would later come out, Mava's possible death was a backdoor situation, with Mava being a known bully in his own hood and having a lot of enemies from the same hood as him. Mozzy's side will later take Coney's chain on what was called a Greasy Neck Tour, where all the members associated with Mozzy will put the chain on and mock Shootergang. They will even go to shows, and Mozzy will let his fans put on the Shootergang chain, showing straight disrespect to Coney and Shootergang. By this time, rapper Murder Gang Juju, who's Mozzy's little homie, was in jail for the alleged murder of rapper Jody Woe. Behind bars, he would do a freestyle and go straight at Shootergang and state his allegiance to Mozzy. This will be quickly followed by rapper Shootergang VJ dropping a diss song going after Murder Gang Juju. He stated that he never did nothing in the streets but be a driver, and also that Juju was trying to ride Mozzy's wave. VJ will also diss Mozzy, stating that he was arrested with Oak Park rival and an affiliate of CML with a gun, and that Mozzy and the CML affiliate were in a car together when they were arrested. Both Coney and Mozzy would be petty, posting back-to-back photos on IG. Mozzy was wearing Shootergang Coney's chain, and Coney was wearing chains his side took from Mozzy affiliates. Then Oak Park member Stax would make a song which many people believe was aimed at Mozzy. He would say when Zoe died, somebody got out of town. Zoe was one of Mozzy's closest homies and was even in Mozzy's The Truth video, but died within hours after it was dropped, in the middle of the Oak Park gang war with South Sac. Maserati Rick will also be a part of Stack's video, with Maserati Rick already having beef with Mozzy. Maserati Rick will later be accused of snitching from Mozzy's side when paperwork will come out against him, with him and another Oak Park member named Snubs being pulled over by the police and a gun being found in the car. This will later lead to Snubs going to prison. Snubs and Stax are family members, but Stax aligned with Maserati Rick and Shootergang, and Snubs would align himself with Mozzy, and this beef will even put Blood family members at odds. The biggest song on record will later become a song which was dropped by Mozzy called Tell the Truth. It was featuring Shorty Shorty. Mozzy would go after Shootergang, saying they really wasn't from Oak Park, but they were from Elk Grove, which is a suburb in Sacramento. He mentioned how Shootergang affiliates got knocked out and said how they also dealt with snitches. The song was dropped in May of 2022. 2 months later, Coney would respond to his own diss song called Free Smoke 2. In the first Free Smoke, he would go after rivals, but in Free Smoke 2, he would go after all the people he was once affiliated with. In the first part of the song, Coney would show rats all over Mozzy chains, referring to the Mozzy camp being snitches. Coney would mention how Mozzy was defending snitches and hating on Maserati Rick. Coney would go after several other Mozzy affiliates, like Hus Mozzy, stating that he was fighting charges against assaulting a woman. He will also mention how several other Mozzy affiliates got their chains snatched, and also mention Mozzy's case with him being in a car with a rival. Mozzy wouldn't respond back in a song, but would eventually do a year's sentence in jail for the gun charge. A lot of other things will be going on behind the scenes, even with Coney and Mozzy's back and forth calming down, but both of their sides was in a full-on beef still, with both sides making posts about each other and sending threats. At the end of 2022, rapper Born Stunner 3G, who's an affiliate of Shootergang, would be arrested for several charges, and in the county jail, he would allegedly be suffering the consequences of choosing a side. It would be said while in jail that 3G would be getting beat up and rolled up by fellow Oak Park members that affiliated with Mozzy. With Mozzy having the biggest bag in his hood, a lot of people would choose his side. Mozzy artist and East Sacramento rapper Sully Rue will later state his opinion and where he stood on the beef.
Gang Coney, like, what's up with bruh? How do you feel, you know what I'm saying, about bruh doing this thing, he dissing Mozzy, but like, do you still keep that relationship cool? Like, cause I see you still following him and you still do his thing. Are you trying to kind of keep it on the level ground and have peace there, or what?
You know, when you got you a homie and you got two brothers,
yeah,
you at their house and they start fighting, and chill out. You don't get in the way. Just chill out. And I ain't got nothing. That ain't my business. I'm from the east. I'm from East Side, Sacramento, Lincoln Village. So they, you know, whatever they got going on, I ain't the one to speak on it.
2023, affiliates of both sides will lose their lives from rival gangs and even possible from eternal beef. But with this rivalry going on for years now, this doesn't seem like something that will stop between both sides. Especially with Mozzy just being released from prison, this beef is bound to spark back up. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.